What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here for another edition of the Sunday Weekly Sports Card Market Update. Talking charts, graphs, news, and everything else that kind of slipped through the cracks. First up, two updates. One, there are still 2 spots left in the Fantasy Football League Best Ball. You could find the links in the video description down below if you want to hop in that. I'll run multiples of these, so don't fret if you miss out. I'll probably wait a couple weeks and pop another one up. The real stuff. Okay. I did a video on this about a week ago, almost 2 weeks ago. The PSA 8 Willie Mays. This was listed for sale at Goldin, 1952. About a $200,000 card. Was up on the Goldin 100. The problem was the cert number was dead. Late this week, I noticed that the cert number changed. I shouldn't say changed. The information that popped up when you search for the cert number changed. It popped up with this. Has been temporarily deactivated as a precaution due to its use as a known counterfeit in the market. Now, that's not saying that that particular card was a counterfeit, just that that cert number, people have copied it because anyone can see the cert in a photo and reuse it, had been used in a situation like that. So, but it was still running up for auction. I reached out to Nat, Ken, and Goldin on Twitter, tagged all 3 of them, and Nat responded, the card on Goldin is confirmed good, but the cert number was flagged as it was used as a known fake slab, so we're just being precautious in case someone comes across the fake one. So this card is still up on Goldin, but brand new cert number. So it must have got sent back to PSA. PSA probably cracked it out, took a look at it, made sure that the card was legit, and re-holdered it to remove the question of authenticity on it. This is clearly the same card. You could tell by the centering on it. I compared it with the images that I had from the one in the old holder. So it appears that the card was indeed nothing wrong with it, but that certification number had been used in the past on a potential fake slab, whatever. So that is the story with the PSA 8 Willie Mays that is up on Goldin. It was never taken down, but the listing has been updated with the new cert with the new slab. So that puts that one to bed. Still, the big takeaway there is check your cert numbers. I don't know how that card ever got listed on Goldin without that being all checked, vetted, and figured out before all this. But is what it is. It looks like it is settled now. I am sure the Tinfoil Hat Brigade will have some fun with that one. News bits that I missed. I shouldn't say missed this week. I saw them. I guess that I just haven't talked about or done a video on. The Panini break-in. I don't really know what you want me to say. Their offices were broken into. The Tinfoil Hat Brigade is having a field day with that one as well. It sounds like it was probably some sort of inside job. I kind of agree with what the Sports Card Nonsense guys said, where maybe this was an employee that is part of the lawsuit or something, and they have something sitting in that office that maybe incriminates them and they wanted it gone, or it was just people being stupid. I don't know. I don't think Fanatics is staging a break-in to Panini to mess with them. But no new information on that, at least that I have seen. I think Sports Card Radio was the ones that kind of broke this one out, and then a bunch of people have done videos since. But I don't have a hot take on this one. I don't have a big conspiracy theory to go into on this one, other than just to note that it had happened. In new release news, while we're on the Panini thing here, Select drops this week. Select Football. I may end up doing a separate video talking about Select Football. It appears they have added another parallel level to water down that product even more. Select, a masterclass in how to completely ruin a brand. We might do its own video on that one later in the week. Also, new releases this week. Yesterday, I'm recording on Saturday. Yesterday, Bowman University Chrome came out. This is basketball. This is the Victor Wembanyama, Caitlin Clark, Scoot Henderson, etc. First Bowman autos. Now, in the past, first Bowman autos or Bowman autos, when it comes to college players, have not really been that big of a deal, or they don't tend to at least hold value. Now, Victor is on a whole other level. Caitlin Clark has a bunch of hype around her as well. And they are licensed. I think that definitely helps them. The unknown here is, and it is still unknown to this day, is Victor Fanatics exclusive? If he is Fanatics exclusive, it drastically changes the hype around this product, I guess I will say. If he is not Fanatics exclusive, I think this product is still going to be at least solid-ish, with some flip potential between now and when we actually get real cards out. Because to me, this will be his best auto until we get a licensed one. Now, where does that come from? That's the part that we don't know. Regardless, these went up on Topps and Fanatics website for $160 a box for hobby boxes. To me, that was extremely reasonable. David Adams had them up a couple weeks ago for like $175. Then they started playing their games, jacking him up. Oh, they're out of stock. Oh, they're back in stock at $15 higher. They currently sit at around $220, $225. They're currently going on eBay for low 200s. So $160 seemed like a very reasonable ask from Topps for this product. I ordered 6 boxes. Topps had a limit of 4. So I ordered 4 from them, and then I saw it was up on Fanatics and ordered 2 boxes from them. The Fanatics one sold out really quick. It was up for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I tweeted about it and posted a link to it on the community page, and I think I had them up. I put it up pretty quick, and I only had it up for about 5 minutes before they sold out. Topps, it stayed up a little bit longer, but not a ton. I think it maybe lasted about an hour or so before they got wiped out. And like I said, currently on the secondary market right now, they are going for $200. The downside to this product is 2 things. One, Caitlin Clark's a sticker auto. I didn't realize that, but I did see some photos of her autos, and they do appear to be sticker autos. Victor is a redemption. That causes, one, it's just, it sucks that he's a redemption. I don't think it's going to be a problem getting the cards, because we've already seen images of the cards from a couple weeks ago where Ruben was in France. I'm guessing he just didn't either get everything signed yet, or they picked up the cards there and just didn't have enough time to get him in the product for distribution. So these might get fulfilled pretty quickly. The real problem that this causes is you cannot long-term hold these boxes. These boxes have an expiration date. So if you are buying these boxes to potentially flip later on down the road, keep that in the back of your head. Or if you are buying these thinking you could stash them away in the closet, keep that in the back of your mind. I have seen mixed reports on Victor's base card from this. It's currently going for a few $100. It is supposedly short printed. I haven't seen pack odds or anything on that yet, but it does seem like I think people have ripped cases and not gotten one, or gotten like 1 per case. The thing is, and I haven't seen enough examples of this yet, because there's a lot listed on eBay, but there's not a lot at the same time, if that makes sense. Either they printed it kind of weird, or, and I have some pulled up here, like, it almost looks like the card is faded a little bit, or has a weird finish to it or something. I don't know. It just looks different from all the other cards in the set. Maybe that was purposeful because it was short printed or whatever. I'm wondering if they got the agreement done. My thought process here is that they got an agreement with him done late to be able to include him in this product. Auto or not, just even name, image, likeness. And they wanted to make sure they had a base card of him in there, so they printed these completely separately, and just the quality and or the print or the paper or whatever was different from the main line, so it looks different. I don't know. That's just my rogue theory. I have no information to back that up. That's just me speculating. But something weird is going on with this card in regards to the way it looks, either by design or by printer defect. I don't know. We'll need to look as more and more of them come out. But as you can also see, there are the autos with the redemptions as well. Autos right now, a base chrome auto is going for slightly under $2,000. Obviously, that'll probably settle in a little bit. And then once we get the card, people start getting cards in hand. We'll see how prices flush out even more. But his base auto seems to be going for about $1,700. And then, go up from there for parallels and stuff like that. Not a ton of those have sold yet. Mostly just base have come through. Some of those are Bowman U Inception. You got to be careful on that too, because a lot of people are just putting Bowman or Bowman U Victor Auto and getting Inception stuff along with Bowman Chrome stuff. If you are going to chase one of these, I'm not. I would be going after the Bowman Chrome one, because I think if it matters long term, and especially if he doesn't have licensed autos immediately, that first Bowman one is going to be the one that stands out among all the rest. Time will tell on the exclusivity. That will end up being a big deal. My bet is, and basically I'm placing a bet with the 6 boxes. I have 6 boxes coming. I will probably rip one just for the channel, and then I'm going to stash the 5 at least for the short term. If it gets announced that he's Fanatics exclusive, I will see what happens to the price of the boxes and then reevaluate and go from there. But my plan is not to rip all 5 of them or anything crazy like that. We'll get them in, sit on them for a little bit, see what happens. I think worst case at the 160 buy-in point, because really you're paying like 170, 175 with shipping and tax. I think your worst case is that you break even to take a slight loss on them at the one, if you got in at that 160 price point. Buying at 200, 225, etc. up, it just depends on what you think Fanatics is going to do if they could get him locked down. We might not get an official announcement. It might be when the first, would that be NBA Hoops is typically the first product, or Donruss. I think it's Donruss. When we see a checklist to see if he is in that checklist or not. That will be a massive deal for the entire 2023 Panini basketball product at that point. That'll be major news if he does end up Fanatics exclusive, as it guts their high-end product. So that's the Victor / Bowman Chrome U / non-professional uniformed player cards. Continuing on, diving into market movers. Link in the description down below. Get the first couple weeks free and then 20% off your price for life if you want to check out charts and graphs on your own. Bowman Baseball. We talked about this in yesterday's video a little bit. I sent that Cam Collier Green Sapphire off to PSA. They have already received it. I will note here that my PSA bulk order, the 38 card special order that I put in, moved into assembly yesterday. As we mentioned in yesterday's video, Bowman Sapphire boxes have crept up to around 700. Market Movers has them at 687. I have seen some sales blow through that. Interestingly enough, if you really want these things, I believe it's David Adams or Blowout. Blowout has them for 650. So they're actually selling for more on eBay than what they're going for on Blowout currently. I don't know how many Blowout has, but Blowout did post some at 650 a box. They are selling at that price, or if not more, on the secondary market. I think it's people probably just don't realize that they're on there. They just go to eBay first and don't look anywhere else for stuff. We've talked about this product to death. Let's look at some actual singles prices. As we like to do when kind of new product comes out, I have fired into the price movements section of Market Movers 2023 Bowman Sapphire Raw Prospect Autos. Once again, I'm not getting too caught up in the individual prices sold because this product is still new, still getting ripped a lot, and this stuff is still coming to market quite a bit. But what I do like to look at here is kind of the ranking order in terms of how these guys kind of fall out. At the top, we have Drew Jones way up at the top, a pretty decent gap there. Then it drops down to Junior Caminero from the Devil Rays. Tampa Bay Rays. And my new boy, Cam Collier, coming in at the 3 spot. And then a significant drop there down to Justin Crawford, Edward Julian, And then another significant drop down to like the $50 guys. So those are kind of your tiers at the moment for the autos from here. Now, there are a couple key prospects missing from this. I am sure that from the 2023 Bowman class, I'm guessing those will show up in Bowman Chrome Sapphire. They probably wanted to save at least a few guys for there. So they'll probably pop up whenever that product ends up coming out. But that's just kind of like your macro level view at kind of who's selling it what from the rookie base auto checklist. Spencer Jones is not in here. That's another big one that's missing. He has a base card, but he does not have a Sapphire auto card in here. So, moving along. Speaking of baseball, we talked about Elly last week. He continues to absolutely rake. The baseball world is expecting him to get called up any day. A lot of people were saying Friday, but I don't believe that actually happened. At the Ship Shawana show last week, he was a very popular name around the show. His prices do continue to climb. His PSA 10 first prospect auto, just the base Chrome version, is up to $900. That's a 25% increase over the last 60 days. But the real note here is that it's jumped quite a bit just since the beginning of the month, from $740 up to $890. And then I pulled his Sapphire, just his base Sapphire PSA 10 is up 50% over the last 60 days. Now, one thing that I just found this interesting, and we know that this all happens, but I just kind of wanted to remind people of this on the FOMO and excitement level of these kids when they either start hot or when they're about to get called up or get called up. So Elly's PSA 10 is going for let's just call it $900 at the moment, if you can even find one at that price, the way his stuff's flying currently. I pulled up, these are not all, but a lot of the MVP contenders for this year so far. Long way to go, obviously. We're just at the beginning of June. But it is intriguing looking at their prices. These are guys that are, like I said, MVP contenders, top of the class, having great seasons. Acuna obviously has a ton of hype around him. PSA 10 going for $2.8K. So significantly more than what De La Cruz is going for. Justifiably so. He's a major leaguer who's had a lot of good seasons already and maybe having his best season this year. Pete Alonso. Dude continues to smash the baseball. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. His PSA 10 2016 Bowman Chrome Auto, Pop 322, not a ton of them, goes for $670 or $690. Not a ton. This is an established major leaguer that has had massive home run years, plays for a very popular team, and his first Bowman goes for $700. Once again, this is just to keep this all in perspective. Mookie Betts, 2014 Bowman Chrome first prospect auto, Pop 189 in a PSA 10, goes for a whopping $1.25K. This guy has won, I believe, 3 MVPs over the course of his career. He is off to a tremendous start this year. And I mean, 1.2 is a pretty decent number, don't get me wrong. But in comparison to what an Elly autograph goes for, who has never played a Major League Baseball game, as opposed to Mookie, who has had a fantastic career. If I took Mookie's stats so far and told an Elly buyer, you can have these numbers through X amount of years of his career total. I forget how many years Mookie's been in the league. And just laid that out. They will probably take that 10 out of 10. And his card barely sells for more than De La Cruz's. Last but not least, Aaron Judge, 2013 Bowman Chrome prospect, is at just over $2K in a PSA 10, Pop 58 on that. Higher Pop in the BGS 9.5 on this one, but I wanted to stay consistent. So 2.16K for his last PSA 10 sale. His is obviously juiced from the home run chase last year and also the Yankee tax, if you will. But I just found those kind of interesting. Do with that information as you will. The Mookie Betts one is the one that stood out to me the most. The guy has 3 MVPs and is having a fantastic season and selling for not quite a third of an Acuna. and selling for slightly more than what the Ellie De La Cruz PSA 10 is going for. And this goes to kind of shows the point that player performance matters, but also doesn't matter. There's a X factor hype value that I don't know that we know how to put our hands around that matters. I won't say more, but as much as player performance. The perfect example of that, which we're going to talk about him in a minute, is Joker. Joker's absolutely fantastic, and his stuff sells for way less than a lot of other guys that have accomplished way less. Ja Morant. Let's switch over to basketball really quick and then kind of wrap this puppy up. Adam Silver had some interesting messaging over the weekend in regards, or late last week rather, in regards to Ja Morant. Basically saying that things might be worse than we all realize. We didn't want to announce anything to take away from the NBA Finals. We will have something shortly after the Finals concludes. Boy, did that not sound great. I think it was Jason Concepcion from, former Ringer podcast host, had a tweet that's, I forget the exact wording of it, but was basically like paraphrasing. This is so bad, we didn't want to ruin it. We didn't want to take away from the finals, so we're waiting for it to be over, kind of announcement. So I don't know what's coming for Ja. I am officially out of the Ja Morant business. My Contenders Optic Red Auto, rest in peace, sold this past week. Video on that probably dropping tomorrow. And I had one other like random Optic Parallel in a PSA 10, which also sold this past week. I no longer own any significant Ja Morant cards. I'm sure I got random stuff laying around, but nothing of like any real value. Like I probably have some like $5 cards or whatever. It's a shame. He's a super talented player. I really like him on the court. I do have some, concerns with some injury stuff, just with the recklessness that he plays with. I think there's going to be great buy low opportunities on him. I think his stuff's going to go lower. You can see here his PSA 10 silver is now down to $370 and continues to decline over the last 30 days. It is down 30%. And if he gets smacked with some monster suspension or some more great stuff doesn't come out about him here in the next, let's call it week or two, there could be another pretty big whack on his prices. To me, if I'm looking to circle back into Ja, I think around the National might be an interesting time to do it. Or right after this next wave of news comes. There could be another dump with this next wave of news. NBA Finals update. Just kind of wanted to touch on the Joker and Jamal Murray. Again, as they looked absolutely amazing against the Heat in Game 1. We'll see what happens in Game 2 later this evening. This is over the last 14 days. Joker base prism only up 10%. Joker silver PSA 10 up 30%. PSA 9 up 10%. Jamal Murray seeing the bigger movements. His base is up 50%. His silver is up 40% in a PSA 10, and the PSA 9 hasn't really moved much, but less sales actually of the 9 than the 10. Very low pop on those cards. But these two guys continue to go up, up, and up, with Jamal Murray seeing the more rapid rises, as his stuff was actually pretty cheap before the playoffs started. If you kind of loaded up on Jamal Murray at the end of the season betting on the Nuggets, you are probably doing quite well today. But as we talked about, even Joker, his silver prism goes for 4K. That's a pretty big number, but that still sells for quite a bit less than a lot of other guys. Giannis silver prism was 2013. I'm sure the pop count's way less on that, but that sells for astronomically more. And Joker has potentially, if things continue to go the way that we think they're going to go, he will have a very similar resume to Giannis. He is going to have multiple MVPs, an NBA Finals possibly, and an NBA Finals MVP possibly. So those guys will be very comparable, but the fact that Joker is in air quotes big holds him back a little bit. Maybe that changes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's all I got for you, boys and girls. We will catch you on the next one. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Peace.